Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we're doing a retrospective review of Slaughterhouse. You'll never get out in one piece.
Directed by Rick Roessler, starring Sherry Leigh, Don Barrett, Eric Schwartz, Jane Higginson, and Joe B. Barton as Buddy. This movie's about a butcher named Tom who's trying to take over Lester's land.
Final offer. I'll give you $55,000 for the property. You can stay here.
Which is a huge slaughterhouse that's been run down and is home of Buddy, who is a maniacal killer who's in love with pigs, and him and his father don't think that Tom should own their land. So he goes on a killing spree for anyone that comes near them, and even some that don't. This is a retrospective review, so because this is so old and it's an 80s slasher, we are going to be talking about all the spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie and you want to check it out, definitely watch it now before you watch the review. Otherwise, we're gonna move on and we're gonna spoil it. Big shout out to our patrons over on Patreon who used the poll to vote for Slaughterhouse. Let's move on to our likes.
I liked the setting of this film. The whole thing takes place in like a rundown slaughterhouse. Because you're going through and seeing every little detail and every aspect of this rundown place, you actually feel creeped out. Cause there's numerous times when you're watching being like, well, why are you going in there? I wouldn't go in here. You're just asking to die. And anyone who went in there pretty much died.
And the only time you kind of see a slaughterhouse is when you're watching some doc on Netflix on a Sunday and you're like, you know, I should turn this off. This like shows the process of the slaughterhouse at the beginning, and then so throughout the film you're seeing all these like hooks, and you're seeing the thing that de-skins and de-hairs the pigs, and you're just like, how the hell are they gonna use these? And thankfully they do actually use most of the items that are used to slaughter animals. It's gross, it's weird. Everything's got cobwebs, or you've got like decaying pigs hanging from hooks.
And this film definitely utilized its choice of weapon. The giant cleaver that Buddy used was such a cool weapon for a serial killer. It was massive, it was threatening, and you knew with one swing, it could take someone out.
And it suited Buddy. Buddy is just like this big ass dude who's in love with pigs, maybe a little too into pigs if I'm being honest, but he's just like this big guy who snorts, he doesn't really talk. And this is a very suitable weapon. He just goes out there and just slaughters. I guess that plays to the name, doesn't it? It's nice that we have like a large cast as well, because we have a lot of people that can die. We have kids that are overly active. I guess the 80s, people are just running and jumping and skipping, and they skip their way into this slaughterhouse and just get brutalized. Even when kills are off screen, you still enjoy it because of the build-up and the chase and everything involved, which is cool.
And this film had like one of the really cool cars running over someone's head. The squishing of a skull was very well done in this film.
By car or by human.
People always drink orange juice for breakfast, you said, but they can't always afford a steak dinner. Look at these. These aren't the hands of an orange picker. These are the hands of a skilled butcher.
I enjoyed the ending of this film. It was the classic freeze frame ending that left it open. It's not utilized enough these days.
I think why it doesn't happen is because movie studios are too soft and they don't want the killer to win. So you don't have to have that anymore. It's like, okay, somebody's going to slash the last person. They're totally dead, for sure. So we're gonna freeze frame it. But like nowadays, the bad guy doesn't win because you need a protagonist to win. Because that's just the formula. Don't play by the formula. Do the freeze frame shit again. Please, kill everybody. Everything is all peachy in my neck of the woods. I don't know where I'm going here.
Just say killers can win.
Yes, that's what I should have said. We're going to the dislikes. That's where we're going. One of the bigger problems with this movie is that I don't care about any of the main characters. We're supposed to care a lot, including like one of the main leads being the sheriff's daughter, and that's supposed to, you know, really tug on your heartstrings, and you're like, oh, where's the sheriff gonna be at? But you don't really ever give a shit.
The only people they generally build sympathy for is Lester and his son. And you're not supposed to like them. And they do a good job making you not like them because like, terrible parenting skills on Lester's part.
Right, after Buddy's already killed 2 people, he's like, hey dad, check what I've done. He's like, son, what have you done? these aren't the people that I wanted you to kill. Why don't you go kill the people that are trying to hit me up for taxes? Fuck this noise.
Why? Listen, boy, these people aren't to be feared. They are harmless. There are other heads I'd rather see roll than these kids.
They give you character traits of sympathy towards the Bacon Boys because you feel bad that they're getting kicked off their land. And the wild and crazy teens that are running around, they're just carbon copies of each other. It's like, I don't really care what Skip and them are doing because they're just running around goofing off and not like actually building or developing their story.
No, they just couple up, walk in different directions, meet up sometimes, shoot some films with some shitty ass masks, and that's it. By the way, wouldn't watch that movie. Maybe we would. I wonder if there's like a fan film of, we made the film the Slaughterhouse was trying to make. That's what needs to start getting funding. Is like all these weird, obscure movies. Like somebody just make those movies. Like the Found Headless situation. We need that to happen, but like on a fan level.
Story-wise, this film definitely sucked with its pacing. It was a very slow film where the action was too spread out.
My stomach's upset. It must have been something I ate.
Nerves, that's what it is. Nerves.
They weren't developing characters. They weren't putting us in interesting situations. They were just giving us scenes that you didn't really care about, and it was very drawn out. To the point that I was losing interest in the film. And that's really bad when you're like 30 minutes in and you're waiting for the next kill and it's not happening, or you're waiting for something to go down and they're just slowly dragging you through the mud.
I can't believe you. 9:30 in the morning and you're pigging out on French fries?
Speaking of being dragged through the mud, Bud, not a huge fan. They made him less menacing by making him kind of really awkward, and he's always creeping in the background, or he's just like sitting there holding a pig. He's just a strange character. Well, he's menacing enough when he stands up and he goes and gets the kids. It's when you see him and his interactions with his father Lester that you're just like, I wouldn't be scared of this guy. Like, he just is weird, and he oinks, and I don't know. He's not the greatest. And he just doesn't look intimidating. Like, yeah, he's just a big guy, but he doesn't look intimidating unless he's holding a big thing oinking at you. You're just like, I don't know if he's gonna pick me up and cradle me or kill me.
He reminded me of Tugboat.
Yeah,
the wrestler Tugboat. It is worth noting that the off-screen kills are more evident than the on-screen kills, which is very disappointing. Yes, the impact is still there, but there's no reason why we couldn't get more on-screen kills.
Even some of the bigger pieces that they use, like the grinder, it's like, it didn't even show blood like spray from the grinder. It just showed this guy like going down. It's like I'm going downstairs, going to the grinder. No blood shooting up. And then you're just like, oh, there's some meat in a trough.
Even when Buddy was like squeezing the lawyer's head, you saw it, but it just looked like someone was pouring syrup off screen and it was just dripping down his face.
So I think Buzz got it the best. He got like, while he was wearing the mask, unfortunately, he got sliced in the side of the head and blood started spraying out, but because there was no lighting on the side, on the right side of the screen, like you couldn't see the blood. You see one squirt before it like fades into darkness. You know, the special effects guys like, you sons of bitches. You know how much time I put into all that blood and nothing? Great lighting though.
On the technical side of this film, this movie has the worst match cut I have ever seen in my life.
It was so close though.
It's just one of these situations where this entire movie, they were trying to build tension, they were trying to make it a little more artistic, and they just kept dropping the ball between the editing style or having Buddy just hanging in the background, creeping through a little hole. You know he's there, but like the spatial relation didn't make it seem intimidating. It didn't make it seem creepy, like, oh, who's that behind the wall? Like,
right.
It was very evident Buddy was like 5 feet from these guys talking about him.
They certainly tried so much. And I think like given better direction, better editing, and better cinematography, maybe all of that would have worked. That's a lot of stuff to replace. I guess you should just make another movie and try harder. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. Slaughterhouse is a movie that I've wanted to see for a very long time, and unfortunately, it didn't live up to what I expected. The cover is great, and so many people talk about it, but it's actually not that great. It's not the slasher that you think it's going to be. While it is a slasher, because you see Buddy throughout the entirety of the film, he's just not threatening. He's not scary. He's just a big weirdo who likes pigs and happens to kill people. And sometimes that's cool, but in most cases, it's not a great kill, like even when he's killing people. So for an 80s slasher, there are definitely way better movies. It's still probably worth watching just so you know about it, but there's nothing great here. The pacing's bad, the characters are very bland and run-of-the-mill, and none of them have personalities. So you're gonna be bored a lot of the time probably. So I just wasn't a huge fan. I'm gonna give this 1.5, not cold ones, but
sipping a few cool ones.
out of 5.
I was actually really disappointed at the end of this film because I was excited to watch a classic 80s slasher, and though this film did have elements of it, it just lacked in a lot with the story and the pacing and the character development. It didn't really build any tension or make me feel scared or worried about the characters. It was all just there and in the open. Buddy himself does look like a menacing killer with a really sweet weapon, but at the end of the day, he's just a goofy kid walking around. There wasn't a lot going on to keep me interested in the film, and most of the kills that we did see were off screen, which is disappointing because the ones that you do see on screen are nice, so the potential was there, it just wasn't fully utilized. If you're a fan of the retro style of film, then yes, I would recommend this one, but for a more modern audience, I think you'll find it really boring and I wouldn't check it out. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 1.5 Buddy embracing his inner pigs out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, there are links in the description where you can find it. There's a quality version from Vinegar Syndrome, and it's actually really, really well done. Anyway, if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.